Hello, everyone, and welcome to this WHO press conference on traditional medicine. Today is Tuesday, 9 December 2025, and we are joining you from the press room in WHO headquarters in Geneva. WHO experts today will brief you on WHO's work on traditional medicine, which is an only or preferred choice of healthcare for billions of people around the globe. They will update you on progress made since the establishment of the Global Traditional Medicine Center in 2022 and present the expectations and major initiatives to be unveiled at the upcoming second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. This event, which is going to be taking place in New Delhi and online from 17 to 19 December, will bring together policymakers, practitioners, scientists, and indigenous leaders from over 100 countries to mobilize the support for the implementation of the Global Traditional Medicine Strategy 2024-3034, which the countries have adopted at the 78th World Health Assembly this May. With us today, we have got Dr. Sylvie Briand, WHO Chief Scientist, Dr. 𝐏𝐑𝐄𝐃𝐀, who is the WHO Traditional Medicine Center Unit Head for Standards, Regulation and Integration. And online, we have got Dr. Shyama Kuruvilla, Interim Director of the Global Traditional Medicine Center, and Dr. Geeta Krishnan, WHO TMC Unit Head for Traditional Medicine Research, Data and Innovation. Welcome all. To our journalists, so first we will hear from our experts and then I will open the floor for your questions. Please make sure you have entered your name and the name of your media outlet in your Zoom profile, and you can already start raising your hand if you want to ask questions. So with this, I will hand over to Dr. Kuruvilla to present WHO's work on traditional medicine and introduce the upcoming summit. Shyama, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Anna. And dear colleagues, warmest greetings and thank you all for joining us today. First, let me begin with one simple fact that brings us together today. Traditional medicine is now a global reality. About 90% of WHO member states report its use amongst 40 to 90% of their populations. With half the world's population lacking access to essential health services, traditional medicine is often the closest or only care available for many people. And for many others, it's a preferred choice because it is personalized and holistic. It's bioculturally aligned, and it supports overall well-being rather than only treating specific disease symptoms. There is also an extensive and diverse global workforce that provides traditional medicine services, from community-based healers to university-educated clinicians and researchers. And as Dr. Tedros, the WHO Director General, has said, this is really a pivotal moment to unite the wisdom and systems of millennia for healing with the power of modern science and technology to advance health for all. So in response to questions on why WHO is scaling up work on traditional medicine, WHO's work responds to global demand and need. Earlier this year, all WHO member states adopted the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategy 2025 to 2034 that guides work on evidence, regulation, systems integration, and multi-stakeholder collaboration rooted in community engagement. Global demand is rising due to chronic diseases, mental health needs, stress management, and the search for holistic, personalized, meaningful care. Traditional medicine is also associated with fast-growing sectors of the economy, such as pharmaceuticals, the wellness industry, and bioeconomy. At the same time, these also bring growing concerns. quality and safety, especially when taken out of the context of traditional medicine knowledge and systems, misinformation, disinformation, sustainable sourcing and biodiversity preservation, equitable trade and benefit sharing, and importantly, respectful knowledge exchange, especially with Indigenous people who safeguard much of the world's biodiversity. WHO's role, therefore, is to help countries ensure that, as with any other medicine, traditional medicine is safe, evidence-informed, and equitably integrated in systems. In this regard, this is also a transformative moment for science, and our WHO chief scientist, Dr. Sylvie will talk about this a bit more. Advances in artificial intelligence, in genomics, systems biology, and precision medicine offer vast new possibilities to study and apply traditional medicine rigorously and at scale, as has never been possible before. And at the Global Summit, WHO is showcasing many of these advances across the 4 objectives of the global strategy, which again are the evidence, systems integration, regulation, and collaboration. WHO is launching global goods, including a traditional medicine global library that already has over 1.6 million scientific publications and records, as well as a global research priority roadmap based on regional consultations, and a data network based on WHO's International Classification of Diseases 11, with the chapters on traditional medicine data that, supported by a global data network, enable standardized reporting of traditional medicine encounters, safety, quality, adverse event reporting, and outcomes across national boundaries that strengthen evidence and regulation. This summit is a turning point. It highlights government leadership, civil society action, as well as innovation in all countries. It also highlights systemic global gaps and opportunities for multilateral collaboration. For example, despite its widespread use and demand, less than 1% of global health research funding currently supports traditional medicine. And summit participants will discuss opportunities for stronger investment, stronger implementation, and stronger impact. And let me conclude by saying that it is clear that advancing traditional medicine is an evidence-based, ethical, and environmental imperative. And the Global Summit aims to foster the conditions and collaborations required for traditional medicine to contribute at scale to the flourishing of all people and our planet. Thank you, and back to you, Amna.
Thank you very much, Shyama. Next, we shall go to Dr. Briand, who will brief us on WHO's work on strengthening the evidence base of traditional medicine and opportunities offered by science and technology. Dr. Briand, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Millions of people around the world use some form of traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine, TCIM. Why? Because when it comes to health, we all seek the best possible solution. TCIM offers a wide range of treatment and approaches applied in different circumstances. And this diversity is an asset. It represents countless potential solutions to health problems. Yet, it also poses a challenge for science. The role of science is clear: to apply rigorous methods to assess the safety, usefulness, and efficacy of drugs, treatment, and approaches. Evidence-based medicine relies on standardized methods and reproducible results across different contexts. In other words, when a medicine works in one country, we expect it to work for patients in another. But why is it so difficult to standardize TCIM? First, because of the immense variety of methods, drugs, and approaches. Second, because TCIM often treats each patient as unique, considering not only the current condition, but also the overall health and environment. Third, many traditional practices are transmitted orally rather than taught in formal schools, leading to personalized approaches that vary by healer. New technologies offer hope for overcoming these challenges and accelerating evidence generation. Artificial intelligence, for instance, can screen millions of compounds, helping us understand the complex structure of herbal products and extract relevant constituents to maximize benefit and minimize adverse effects, just as artemisinin revolutionized malaria treatment. AI can also help us better understand drug interaction. Advanced imaging technologies such as MRI, electroencephalograms, or functional magnetic imaging allow us to visualize organs and body structures, shedding light on how traditional practices like meditation affect brain functions. Similarly, physiological studies can explore mechanisms behind acupuncture and its impact on neuronal synapses. Technology also helps us preserve ancient wisdom, digitizing millions of traditional medicine texts and making them accessible for research. This is how we bridge the past and the future. Quantum chemistry will help reproduce natural molecules proven to be effective, ensuring their availability and consistency. This is where precision medicines offer a promising bridge, connecting the deeply personalized care that characterize TCIM with the most advanced biomedical techniques. By leveraging genetic, environmental, and lifestyle data, precision medicine can help tailor interventions that respect individuality while ensuring scientific rigor. Recognizing these opportunities, WHO has developed a global research agenda for traditional medicine. This agenda provides a roadmap. It will guide investment, prioritize research, and ensure ethical principles and human rights are respected. Currently, global investment in traditional medicine research remains very low. This must change if we are to meet today's health challenges, such as mental health, chronic diseases, and inequities in access to care. By increasing investment and aligning efforts through the research agenda, we can unlock the full potential of TCIM to complement modern medicine and improve health outcomes worldwide. WHO has taken a major step forward by publishing a special issue of the WHO Bulletin dedicated to TCIM, spanning topics from original research papers to indigenous people's rights and respectful knowledge exchange. This landmark publication reflects our commitment to advancing science while honoring cultural heritage. Together, let us embrace innovation while respecting tradition, ensuring that every approach we use is safe, effective, and accessible for all. Because health is not just about curing disease, it's about empowering people to live their best lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvie. I will open the floor for questions now. Please enter your name and the name of your media outlet in your Zoom profile if you wish to ask a question. Our first question will go to Belisa Godinho from W Magazine, Portugal. Belisa, over to you, please.
Thank you for taking my question. What kind of regulation of traditional medicine is being discussed at this global summit, and how would it be implemented? Thank you.
Thank you, Belisa, for your question. Dr. Shyama, would you like to start us off, please? New innovation interventions to be presented at the summit.
Thank you so much, Amna, and maybe I'll start and hand over to Dr. Kim. Regulation of traditional medicine is as important here as in any other field of health or health intervention. And as our chief scientist has said, we have to base this on the highest and most future-forward ways of science because of all the particularities of traditional medicine that are personalized, that are holistic, that are very bioculturally rooted, that are unique in so many senses. And so over here, WHO has a range of approaches to looking at regulation, from research in terms of what are the most robust and relevant ways of establishing traditional medicine safety and efficacy, to looking at evidence-based norms, to working with groups such as the IRCH on developing international herbal pharmacopoeia, and also in terms of empowering people themselves to make informed health choices and participate in adverse event reporting and many others. So if I could, let me hand over to our unit head in charge of this area, Dr. 𝐾𝐃.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sharma, for giving me this opportunity. I think as Dr. Sharma mentioned previously, one of the global traditional medicine strategy is particularly emphasize that the importance of the establishing appropriate regulatory mechanism for traditional medicine. Then when we're talking about the traditional medicine that related with the regulation, it's a three pillars: traditional medicine product, and traditional medicine practice, and traditional medicine practitioner. So I think as a beginning, we mentioned that traditional medicine is so diverse in different countries, and different traditional systems of medicines are being recognized and practiced. So in order to harmonize and composing those different types of the regulation, particularly for traditional medicine products, we try to build that international standard, quality, and safety of the herbal medicine. So in order to achieve that, we have WHO initiate developing international herbal pharmacopoeia. So I think this is one of the key initiatives. At the same time, in order to help member countries strengthen the regulatory mechanism for herbal medicine, we try to build international global benchmarking tool for assessing and helping member countries to improve regulatory mechanism of the herbal medicine. So, and also this, and then in terms of the traditional medicine practice, because we try to build some standard manual how to develop that clinical guidelines on traditional medicine. So in order to achieve that, WHO in the past, we have done so many, several, key technical products, such as the WHO benchmarking tool, benchmarks for traditional medicine practice and training in different systems of traditional medicine and so on. And also, if you look at the traditional medicine practitioner, in order to, that helping member country to internationally recognize the classification and qualification of the traditional medicine practitioner, WHO, we are also working on the developing international classification and qualification of the traditional complementary and integrated medicine practitioner. So overall, what is the key common goal is how to make sure those traditional medicine services are safe and quality assured and effective intervention. So I think that is our common goal in the WHO. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Just checking with our speakers online. Dr. Geeta, anything to add on this?
Thank you, Amna. I agree fully with what Dr. Shyama as well as Dr. Kim said. In addition, we have during the summit we are discussing about how to improve the health workforce, and we are also talking very deeply about how these regulations for health workforce can be harmonized across different countries so that traditional medicine practitioners who undergo training in systematic manner could have different, like similar kind of regulatory approaches from different countries. So that's one major area where we are discussing, and we have a session almost fully dedicated to that in the summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Geeta. Thank you to our speakers. Let's go to the next journalist online. It's Maya Plants from the UN Brief. Maya, unmute yourself and ask the question, please.
Yes, thank you very much for taking my question. My question is related to traditional medicine from Latin American, from the Latin American region. We think about the Amazonian, Indian, indigenous populations in their traditional ways, as well as other African, Latin, and African Brazilian types of traditional medicines and methods of healing. How much are these advancing in terms of finding their ground and their place in this kind of conferences? Because we hear a lot about Ayurvedic Indian traditions and then also Chinese traditional medicine, which is wonderful. But I would like to know how is it going in terms of Latin America, the Latin American region? If you can give me an update.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Maya. Let us go to Dr. Shyama first to start us off. Dr. Shyama.
Thank you so much, Maya, for this very important question. What we call respectful knowledge exchange with indigenous communities and traditional healers is one of the core work streams of the WHO Traditional Medicine Center. And over here, we have several dimensions. One is that this is led by indigenous people and with the free, prior, informed consent. So they do not yet see, and as also our chief scientist said, that these are challenges for science to evolve as well. And the idea is not to squeeze everything into a one-size-fits-all model, but to have that respectful knowledge exchange, to understand different worldviews about healing, about well-being, about the interconnectedness of the health of an individual with society and the environment. And I think these are such holistic, valuable insights and learning. And the summit actually has also a discovery experience. And the first zone of this experience is going to be led by indigenous people from Latin America, from Africa, talking about the traditions, which in some way people have also said is among the world's longest and largest observational studies, if we were to talk about it in scientific sense, and a heritage that all of us have inherited. But at the same time, not romanticizing this, because indigenous populations face so many constraints on their rights and equity. And even though they're only 6% of the global population, they are stewards for about 40% of the world's biodiversity, which is crucial to this whole agenda, as well as this respectful knowledge exchange. So we're at the start of this joint collaboration, this respectful exchange of knowledge paradigms, and we're looking forward to this opening up a world of health and well-being with multiple solutions and approaches, as Dr. Sylvie mentioned earlier.
Thank you, Shyama. Dr. Kim?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I fully echo that what Shyama mentioned. So in the new, one of the things I want to emphasize, in the new global traditional medicine strategy, first time we have a clearly defined divides that traditional medicine, complementary medicine, and integrative medicine. So it means that we are covering all those codified, uncodified systems of traditional medicine. So those traditional medicine being practiced in the Latin American and African countries, basically belonging to kind of, uncodified systems of traditional medicine. So in addition to what Shyama is highlighted, I think that there is an important issue, how we are going to systematically documenting those indigenous, uncodified systems of traditional medicine. So I think that is actually should be the one of the key area we are actually going to do, and also particularly in order to ensure that fairing, that benefit sharing among those stakeholders. So I think these are some of the key points WHO actually now working on it. So I think that is somehow there is a strong linkage with the traditional medicine program and those indigenous traditional medical practice in the Latin America as well as the African regions. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Dr. Geeta, anything from you to add?
Thanks, Amna. Yes, in fact, as Dr. Shyama said, promoting co-creation, stewardship of nature, and resilience rooted in living traditions. That's the basis upon which we are working with the indigenous community and co-creating with them the framework of dialogue, how to record, how to preserve the knowledge, and as well as utilize them in the most effective manner. In fact, the decisions are made with the indigenous peoples across the globe, not for them. That's an underlying fact that I would like to say. And in the summit, we have, especially in the innovation area, where we got more than 1,000 in innovation submissions when we made the open call. We have found that there were tremendously interesting and fabulous innovations which had emanated from the traditional indigenous medical knowledge, and some of them are being showcased in the summit. So, for example, 2 of them comes from the African region. One is for a simple solution for anemia, and another one is for a solution for salmonella infection, which is a common infection for children in Africa. Another one from Latin America tells us about how to utilize the indigenous knowledge about the indigenous people's knowledge about the African, about the Latin American medicinal plants in the Latin American forest to the South American forest, to utilize them for bioprospecting, to find out what kind of medicinal properties these plants might have, linking them to the indigenous knowledge. And something from the Australian indigenous knowledge, information or innovation is on policy, on how to create a policy which is very effectively able to record and investigate the medicinal properties or health related properties of about 70,000 of untouched or uninvestigated medicinal plants in Australia. So very interesting projects we have seen, and we are putting all our effort along with the indigenous community leaders across the globe to push this forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our speakers. Next question will go to Lynn Patterson from Trends in Medicine. Lynn, over to you.
Thank you. So the one thing I haven't heard yet today, unless I'm just missed it, is the traditional Chinese medicine. And that's a little further along and more established. And I think some of that is trying to get approved in Europe and the US. And can somebody talk about the process for getting some of these traditional medicines more mainstream?
Thank you, Lynn. Let us start with Dr. Kim, and then we'll go to our other speakers. Dr. Kim?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. as mentioned at the beginning, some countries' traditional medicine has been quite well established. Well established mean that they are from the policy and then education and research and service delivery and so on. That is the whole traditional medicine as a part of the whole health sector and whole health system integration is the already took place. So I think this is one of the examples that the traditional Chinese medicine, because country, I think that traditional Chinese medicine is built on this very good, that theoretical foundation and systematically built. Therefore, I think many of this therapy, they have goes through the research and so on, and also they have much to offer, kind of health promotion and disease prevention, particularly lifestyle-related, chronic conditions. Therefore, many of the traditional Chinese medicine formulations and drugs, actually, I think I agree that I think that some of the European country as well as the USA, they approve those and then they're already in the market. So I think this is one of the good examples that some country is advanced in several countries quite advanced in certain area of the traditional medicine. So I think the role of WHO should be, we encourage that the knowledge exchange among those member countries, what they have already achieved. So I think this is a good lesson actually people maybe some other country could learn how the whole systems of traditional medicine build within the health system. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Next question is in the chat from BBC News from Kinshasa. Emery Makomeno is asking, how are the issues surrounding patents addressed when a traditional medicine is curative for some particular illnesses such as diabetes and HBP? So intellectual property aspects, Dr. Kim?
Yeah, I think maybe here we have a little bit, that differentiate whether, because when we're talking about the traditional medicine can be managing diabetes, for example. So there is a certain phytopharmaceutical as a patent through this rigorous clinical research and etc. So, but this, patent phytopharmaceutical has a little different from the traditional formula that is practiced in the thousands of years, whatever. But so the approach, they look at this, okay, it's targeting certain disease is fine because that is the patent with this particular evidence. So that is the one approach actually we can still promote that kind of achievement. At the same time, that the traditional way, some of the many formula actually could managing those conditions. But from the traditional medicine perspective, that's why I mentioned that the traditional medicine could play the key role to preventing those diseases getting worse, and also that is a more offering the health promotion and so on. So I think so in this development of the traditional medicine, maybe we look at these two aspects, either this phytopharmaceutical development aspect as well as the well-established traditional systems of medicine that is quite prevailing in China or India, many other countries. So I think those potential, maybe we look at together how best way to fitting in within health system. So let them to best way to serving the health and well-being of the people. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Dr. Shyama, anything to add?
Thank you for the questions. And I just want to say one of our very important collaborative areas is with the World Intellectual Property Organization, which, as many of you may know, had a landmark treaty that was adopted in 2024 on genetic resources and associated traditional knowledge that will define how patents are applied for and managed in the future. And this requires notification of the source of the genetic material as well as whether it's been used in traditional medicine before. This, of course, means that we have to have technologies, which we do now, like DNA barcoding, etc., to show the source of the genetic natural resources, as well as the documentation that we talked about of traditional knowledge so that it can be established whether this has been used in prior art. Why is this important? Even our biomedical pharma, over 40% rely or derive from natural resources, and natural resources are also the source of most novel new drug discovery. And this is a huge area of work. I did see in the chat that Daniel was asking how many medicines are there, and I would just go back to what Sylvie mentioned earlier, that this is an exciting new area of work with the science and technology advances, with the new global frameworks. So just to give you an idea of scale, there may be about, say, depending on how we count it, 5,000 to 10,000 FDA, EDA type approved drugs, biomedical drugs. But in documented traditional medicine formulations, just in those that are documented, there are close to 400,000 formulations that are ready for scientific discovery. And some of them, as Geeta have said, have gone through extensive, preclinical, clinical studies as well. So it's really an exciting time for a range and diversity of the best health solutions for the best health.
Thank you, Dr. Shyama. Next question will go to Disha Shetty from Health Policy Watch. Disha, can you unmute and ask your questions, please?
Yes. Thank you so much for taking my question. I have two questions. One is that there is a lot of opposition to mainstreaming traditional medicine in some countries like India by practitioners of modern medicine. So what is WHO's response to their concerns? And my second question is, what is being done to ensure that quackery is not promoted and authentic traditional medicine is as you work towards this policy? Thank you.
Thank you, Disha. Going to Dr. Shyama.
Thank you, Anna. I can start the discussion, and thank you, Disha, for the question, because this is really one of the big challenges in many countries. And I think referring back again to China, it starts with education. And in China, the education of biomedical physicians, traditional medicine physicians has a lot of complementarity. And in fact, they are co-located and integrated in hospitals and throughout the healthcare system, which fosters that sense of understanding. And I think the evidence here plays a critical role. As Geeta said, at the summit, there will be discussions about strengthening the traditional medicine workforce. And as Kim mentioned about the regulation, these are all things that build trust, as well as public trust and understanding. We have a project with the Cochrane collaboration on informed health choices that the public also understands what kinds of health interventions they use for what and when to seek emergency care. But I've also seen that as the evidence increases, there is a sense that of achieving shared goals. And what I mean by that is, for example, there is evidence that is growing about reduced antibiotic prescription and use with the use of traditional medicine. For example, with acupuncture and other pain management techniques, which also then affects opioid addiction, or the findings that are coming through from health systems research on the cost effectiveness and the efficiencies gained by focusing on prevention and health promotion and well-being rather than actually treating the diseases. And I think achieving these shared goals is a very important way of building complementarity and understanding and collaboration. I'll just hand over, Amna, to you to see if other colleagues had anything to add.
Indeed, thank you, Dr. Shyama. We will go to Dr. Kim next.
Yeah. Thank you. Rightly, Sharma mentioned, I think that education is a top priority in order to achieve mutual understanding and mutual respect between the traditional and biomedical practice. So I think that without knowing and understanding other systems of medicine, we actually hardly achieve that mutual respect. So I think this would be the first step, because some countries so much against each other, biomedicine and traditional medicine. One of the reasons there is no integrated education system. So I think this is as Sharma mentioned, actually some other countries already have a good experience. They have from the medical education, fully integrated biomedicine and traditional medicine. So these traditional healthcare providers, basically, they are using all the biomedical intervention or traditional medicine intervention. Here is importance that one thing we have to understand, we have to recognize it. Traditional medicine has its own advantage, and biomedicine also has its own advantage. We all believe in the modern medicine, biomedicine, antibiotics and communicable disease. I think emergency care, surgical care, this is a super important also that advantage that the biomedicine has. But still, we also believe that there is a certain limitation. But traditional medicine, at the beginning, we also mentioned, traditional medicine has such a holistic, personalized, nature-based, intervention. So that's why they have much to offer, health promotion and disease prevention, etc. So I think that we have to agree, and I think that practitioner has to be fully understand those points. Then we have to be thinking that how to integrate this traditional practice either in the primary health care or secondary care or tertiary care. So this whole integration depends on the country context. So I think we need to have a strong government leadership and strong policy and commitment. Without that, we can hardly achieve such an integration and in individual country. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Next to Dr. Briand for the question on including authentic traditional medicine.
Thank you for this question, because indeed it's a very important question that we are tackling this issue very seriously. I think that's why the scientific research agenda is so important, because for me, the way to differentiate authentic traditional medicine to quackery is really to ensure that it's evidence-based and based on a very rigorous scientific approach to assess traditional medicine. And so the difficulty we have is really on the methods first, because biomedicine and traditional medicine are coming from different paradigms. In biomedicine, it emphasizes randomized control trials, standardized diagnostics, and generalization of results across different populations. So it values objectivity and external observation, aiming to eliminate bias and ensure reproducibility. In contrast, traditional medicine operates within a different epistemological framework, a different paradigm. It emphasizes individuals' diagnostic and treatment, internal observation of bodily states, and an holistic understanding of health that includes physical, emotional, and spiritual dimension in a certain environment. So TICM practitioners often rely on experiential knowledge and a dynamic relationship between the practitioner and the patient. So it's very difficult for external for example, to standardize these traditional medicine approaches, because it may vary between different healers, and also the diagnostic is not based on the same assessment as for biomedicine on external diagnostics, but on other different methods that are much more holistic. So we are working as part of the research agenda on developing also methods to enable, to generate this evidence about traditional medicine and have randomized control trials as well on drugs, or being able also to compare different services and approaches with as objectively as possible, eliminating bias, and trying also to have results that can ensure that those treatment or those approaches are safe, efficacious, useful, and that can also make a difference in the health system, whether in isolation or complementary to biomedicine.
Thank you, Dr. Sylvie. Checking in with Dr. Geetha. Anything to add?
Thanks, Anna. No, I agree with all my colleagues, and the underlying thing was, my perspective is that WHO is not trying to develop or evolve traditional medicine as an alternative, but as an evidence-informed contributor to universal health coverage. And our aim is to bring stronger safety, stronger science, and stronger equity for traditional medicine. And I agree that there are issues related to trust among traditional medicine practitioners and biomedical practitioners, but this needs to be addressed by stronger evidence, stronger scientific basis, and making sure that there is strong dialogue between the two. And developing in silos is not appropriate, and we are trying to build these bridges, and that's our goal, and that's exactly what we are trying to do, and that's what the strategy is also supporting us with. Thank you.
Thank you to our speakers. I understand there were a couple of follow-up questions, so if you want to ask your follow-up question, please raise your hand. For now, we are going to Lynn Patterson from Trends in Medicine. Lynn?
Thank you. I'm still struggling with this concept of if somebody has a traditional medicine in a country and we want to take it to Europe or to the US, is WHO helping set any kind of standards to make that happen?
Thanks.
To make that process easier.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. Dr. Kim?
Yeah. I think it's related with the evidence, what kind of evidence we are going to generate, and so that if the European and USA, because basically, as far as my understanding, that requirement basically targeting the pharmaceutical, how through this double-blind randomized clinical trial evidence and so on. So this is actually that approach, particularly targeting for developing particular pharmaceutical, single molecule, single ingredient. So we have to be very clear. This is the pharmaceutical, but it's a traditional medicine again. It's the whole sector. And in terms of the herbal medicine, you can imagine herbal medicine is the formula consists of the several kind of medicinal plant. So there is a certain theories involved, and then build on that. They look at the person as a whole. So that way to look at this evidence, traditional systems of medicine is the different approach from the biomedicine. So that's why this Dr. Sylvie, the chief scientist, mentioned we have to find a way how to validate those complex, multi-ingredient kind of herbal medicines and traditional medicine intervention and so on, how to measure and validate those, that intervention. So it is a huge task for us to build on it. At the same time, again, evidence can be coming from the different sources. One is the research, clinical research, whatever is the research, evidence coming from there. At the same time, we also look at those real-world data, because as a previous, Dr. Shyama also mentioned, international ICD-11 capturing traditional medicine chapter. We're also working on this international classification of the health intervention, each for targeting for traditional medicine. Overall, this effort is in order to achieve that standard, coding and analyze those traditional medicine intervention for particular systems of traditional medicine. So I think that can generate a lot of real data, what happening in the real world, in the clinical context. So I think that in the future, we might be in a much better position to see those evidence and data that can be fully supporting policymaker to making such an informed decision making. So I think that is the approach WHO is doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Dr. Shyama?
Thanks, Anna, and thanks, Lynn, for pushing on this point. And maybe what would be interesting and inspiring is to hear about some specific country examples. Germany has a very strong use case, as it were, on integrative approaches to cancer management, so from the diagnostics and treatments. And they actually have standardized protocols in terms of what kind of treatments are useful at what stage of the diagnostics, treatment, management, even prevention. And I think this is then being scaled up with the data networks generating evidence. So that's quite a strong example that's already showing benefits in terms of health outcomes and patient satisfaction and safety as well. We also have from the US, the whole health approach that is used across the Veterans Health Administration, where the use of integrative approaches of biomedicine plus the traditional complementary integrative medicines have yielded significantly beneficial results. For example, 38% reductions in opioid use, or people reporting a sense of greater meaningfulness, in terms of their well-being, and a holistic approach to their health and well-being. There's also very interesting standardization exercises. Kim mentioned earlier about, say, benchmarks or technical reports on the practice of acupuncture, on even yoga, to say, here's how, here are what the benchmarks of the practice would be as a technical report that then could be applied. And even within countries across different knowledge paradigms, Thailand has a very systematic approach where there is this very respectful knowledge exchange from the biomedical facilities and observing treatments in rural or settings with traditional healers. And then actually videotaping, understanding what the practice is, what the plants used are, and then going through the scientific methods, having that dialogue to see why something is used in what case, and then progressing through the clinical trials and the whole R&D process till these interventions are then included on Thailand's essential medicine list. So I think there are a range of country examples and approaches to standardization, to quality, to integration. And the summit offers this opportunity for showcasing these best practices as well as on what works and doesn't work. And therefore, we're really looking forward to this exciting opportunity for further learning.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shyama. Dr. Brion?
Yeah, I would like to provide also two examples, one on a product, and I mentioned it earlier, artemisinin, which is a drug used for malaria. and a very important product to prevent malaria, especially in endemic countries. And this drug comes from a plant in the herbal, traditional medicine in China. But the plant itself, has different compounds and different molecules. Some of them are not useful and even harmful, while the molecule we are interested in for malaria is very specific. So there have been collaboration across the world to make sure that the molecule in which we are interested is extracted from the plant, and this has been collaboration in different places. Our special program on tropical medicine research, TDR, has been involved in those research, and then there have been some clinical trials, of course, to see the safety and the efficacy of this drug, and now it's commonly used and recommended for malaria prevention. So I think this is an example where traditional medicine can be applied much beyond the initial system where it has originated. Another example is, for instance, meditation. As you know, meditation is used in many different cultures and has been used for centuries. But recently it has expanded much beyond those culture and religions to be used in many places in the world as adjunct therapy for mental health diseases like stress, anxiety, depression. And with the new technology, we are able now to, with MRI, for instance, to visualize which part of the brain is transformed by meditation. It's also possible to find new ways of doing it, so outside, of course, a religion context. So I think this is progressing, and it's a result of decades of research, of course, but also exchange across the world of findings, research protocols, and research studies that enable a different culture to talk to each other and to see what can be useful in different contexts. Because, of course, most of these practices originated in a certain context, so the translation in another context for different type of culture requires some adaptation and translation. So this is what we are working on, but always ensuring that everything is based on science and very rigorous process to assess the safety, the efficacy, and the usefulness.
Thank you, Dr. Briand. We have come to the end of this press conference. I understand there are still a couple of hands up. Please write to us at the media team at mediainquiries@who.int, and we'll be happy to assist you. Looking at Dr. Shyama and Dr. Briand for very brief closing remarks. Dr. Shyama?
Thanks, Anna. And maybe to close as saying, it's very exciting to go forward on this journey as one WHO. As you can already see, we're strongly rooting this program in science with our chief scientist here, but it's also grounded. The center is in the health systems division, where we're working very closely with our data colleagues on artificial intelligence, and very importantly, on the long-standing WHO program on regulation of medical products, the pre-qualification and learning and building and relying on their expertise to take this work forward, as well as the health workforce. We work on biodiversity preservation with our environmental health colleagues, as well as on health promotion. And you've heard Dr. Briand talk about the application to communicable diseases and mental health and non-communicable diseases. But in addition to this, all WHO regions and country offices are closely involved, especially because of the unique nature of traditional medicine that's evolved over millennia in very specific biocultural contexts, and facilitating this knowledge exchange, this convening of knowledge and science to advance health for all, and contribute to the flourishing of all people and the planet. And ultimately, that's at the heart of WHO's mandate. Thank you, Amna.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just to share with you that I'm very excited to go to this summit, and because I think it will be really a place for dialogue, for communication, to think differently across disciplines, to collaborate and co-create a more inclusive and responsive science and of healing. But it's also, for me, the opportunity to see that really health is not just the absence of disease. Health is really a dynamic state of balance, resilience and meaning. And I think by bringing together different approaches for health, I'm sure that we will make a lot of progress and harness really the power of science to achieve health for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our speakers. Thank you to journalists for your time, for your questions and the engagement. As I said earlier, you know where to find us, media inquiries at who.int in case of any questions. We'll be sending the recording of this presser in the course of the day, and thank you very much and goodbye.